This is CBC Vancouver News.
We're working exceptionally long days. We have heavy equipment out there until the evening.
Inside the fire zone, a first-hand look at an eerily quiet Tumbler Ridge on the front lines of a wildfire that refuses to budge. Plus,
you're looking through the trees and seeing the smoke. You're seeing things you've never seen before in that area.
A special convoy of commercial trucks brings desperately needed supplies to communities cut off by a wildfire on Vancouver Island. And
feeding the homeless and helping the people in need was the best way to remember him and keeping his legacy alive.
Serving others in memory of a popular Punjabi rapper whose legacy is being honored today on the downtown east side. Good evening, I'm Tanya Fletcher. We begin tonight in northeastern BC, where all eyes are looking up to the sky. The weather will dictate the direction of the wildfire currently threatening Tumbler Ridge. So far, winds have been favorable this weekend, and some rain is in the forecast. But for now, a community of thousands remains under evacuation order tonight. CBC News was escorted inside the fire zone today. Our Nicole Aud has a first-hand look at what crews are doing to protect that town.
Fire crews hard at work, running a test along a residential street in Tumbler Ridge. Sprinklers douse properties on the edge of town. It's a test to make sure the water system can handle the demand. Despite clear blue skies, the West Kiskatinaw River fire burns just 4 kilometers away over the ridge.
Yesterday was the first day with those winds pushing away from the area that crews were really able to get in, start establishing containment lines using hand guards. So that's where they go in with hand tools and remove available fuels.
With more than 2,000 residents forced to leave, the streets are eerily empty. But look at any given driveway and you'll see piles of potentially dangerous items that could easily catch fire. They're being removed and more sprinkler systems being laid down, ready in case the winds start blowing back towards town.
Crews are working exceptionally long days. We have heavy equipment out there until the evening. They're working really hard to get those containment lines established to get people home as quickly as we can.
For now, the roadblocks will stay in place. Residents can apply for temporary entry permits, but only for essential trips inside the fire zone. Emergency reception centers remain open in Chetwynd, Dawson Creek, and Fort St. John. Tumbler Ridge municipal councillors are heading to those communities to speak directly to evacuees.
We just thought that we wanted to get out to our residents, make sure they know that, we're here and we want to hear those questions.
In addition to wildfire fighters, emergency crews from right across the province have descended on Tumbler Ridge, helping locals protect their community.
We very much appreciate all of the efforts from all of the partners that have been involved from day one. North Peace Search and Rescue, South Peace Search and Rescue, the Canadian Rangers. People have come out in droves to assist us in our time of need.
Rain is in the forecast in the coming days, but the wind is the unpredictable factor, meaning those who've left have no idea when they'll be able to return home. Nicole Aud, CBC News, Tumbler Ridge, BC.
And some developing news now on a different wildfire, also in the Peace region. More evacuations have just been triggered by the Donnie Creek wildfire, this just within the past hour or so. The BC Wildfire Service says the flames are growing aggressively thanks to gusty winds pushing the fire south. The Peace River Regional District has now issued evacuation orders for another 14 properties at least. The areas affected are east of Highway 97N between mile 192 and mile 207 and extends east 20 kilometers of Highway 97N. Evacuees are asked to go to the Sports Center in Fort St. John. We'll keep you up to date with the latest on this as details come in. On Vancouver Island, another fire continues to force the closure of Highway 4 tonight. A wildfire on the bluffs near Cameron Lake has cut off access, the main access route to the west coast of Vancouver Island, and that's been the case for 3 straight days now. Well, today the province mobilized a supply convoy along a gravel logging road to transport essential items. Commercial trucks will run 4 times a day in this fashion for as long as they're needed to provide supplies and fuel. But for locals and travelers who are left stranded, the uncertainty is leading to anxiety. Our Moira Whiten has that part of the story.
This is what the drive from Port Alberni to Nanaimo is supposed to look like, minus the smoke. But it hasn't been open since Thursday because of a fast-moving wildfire. Ryan Rutten managed to get past the closure to a doctor's appointment in Nanaimo just in the nick of time.
So driving through the area, you're looking through the trees and seeing the smoke. You're seeing things you've never seen before in that area. There's all kinds of trucks that are on the side of the road that are clearly working, and like these are tech crews that are trying to figure out what's going on.
He says he was shocked by how quickly the fire had moved within a few hours of his trip.
So it's just stuff you've never seen before, so you know that it's like, okay, this is getting serious for sure.
For those not as lucky, volunteer-powered Angel Flights is stepping up to help others get around the blaze.
We then got a call from a lady who's she's 72. She has to go to Nanaimo for treatment. Would this be possible? So we evaluated it to make sure we weren't going to infringe on the flying space, fires, etc. And we said, yeah, this is viable. And since then, we've had another call and probably more to come.
But their services aren't fireproof.
We are an option, not a solution. If this smoke gets really bad and drifts towards Alberni, then we probably won't be able to fly.
The good news, the fire isn't getting closer to the highway. The bad news, it's still threatening the road's stability. That means there's no estimate when it might reopen.
The highway is right along the lake, and then on the other side of the highway, it's a very steep cliff that goes almost vertical, straight up, and that's where the fire is.
And for some with less pressing travel reasons, staying safe has come with a cost. One visitor from Calgary says Airbnb and her host refused to refund her $1,600 booking in Ucluelet.
My brother and I put this trip together and, kind of put money away and saved for, months in advance to, go on this trip with our mom, and, to just kind of be told that I'm SOL by my host and the company it's upsetting and really disappointing.
She hopes Airbnb will change its policies. In the meantime, an island remains divided, leaving many feeling hopeless at a standstill. Moira Whiten, CBC News, Vancouver.
And let's take a look now at the 5-day forecast. We'll start with the satellite radar to give you kind of that bird's eye view of the province. Right now, the driest areas of BC are in the north and the northern part of Vancouver Island. And of course, that is where the biggest wildfire danger is right now. The southeast in the Kootenays, we have a special air quality statement in effect due to all the wildfire smoke that's largely blowing over from Alberta. That is also where the bulk of the precipitation you can see here, those pockets of thunderstorms are largely remaining to the east of the Rockies. So that's good news for us. Up in the north especially, we'll likely see blue skies, possibly some wind tomorrow. That's the bad news for Prince George area, Chetwynd, Tumbler Ridge. And then Tuesday, there was when we'll see some showers come in, so that will be much welcome news there. Otherwise, we'll see lots of sunshine right across the province. Same thing for Metro Vancouver. 21 is our average high, so we're right where we should be for this time of year. In other news today, 48 hours later, and hundreds of people are still displaced thanks to a fire that sent a new residential development up in flames. The fire in Maple Ridge also destroyed 2 neighboring houses and tore through a nearby apartment complex. Most are now staying with family and friends, but a handful are taking shelter at a youth center. As our Janella Hamilton reports, support from the community is lifting up those left with nothing.
Listen, the smoke alarms are still going off too, so it's just surreal, but I'm just happy to be alive, happy to have my family.
Joshua Newcomb is devastated looking at what's left of his home. He says he was out on his balcony late Friday night when he saw flames coming from the construction site across the street, and he knew he had to act fast.
My heart just was racing, so I was panicking, but I shook my wife, I got the kids, and yeah, I regret not getting some of my things, but I know that I didn't have minutes to spare.
The fire began just before midnight and burned for 10 hours overnight into Saturday morning. It engulfed the new development on Brown Avenue and Edge Street within seconds. Fueled by winds, the blaze quickly spread to the condo building behind it, where Newcomb lives.
There's balls of fire falling down in the sky. It was just chaos.
Chris Dersh received a startling phone call from his 97-year-old mother, who lives in the same building as Newcomb.
I walked out of the bedroom and to the back of the house where it has a view towards the apartment building, and the sky was bright orange. And I realized what was going on.
When he arrived at the burning building, he couldn't find his mother. A frantic 45 minutes later, he found her safe, thanks to what he calls angels.
Joey and a woman named Ashley saw my mom and gave her some comfort, and they put a coat on her. She had no coat, and they took her into a car and they warmed her, and they tried to figure out what to do.
In all, more than 70 units were evacuated. Now the community of Maple Ridge is rallying to collect donations of cash, clothes, furniture, and toys for kids, hoping to provide some comfort to those forced from their homes.
You always think it wouldn't be me, but when it happens and you just see everybody come to help, even if they're just saying, "Are you okay?" Like it's a big deal.
No serious injuries were reported in the fire, but several pets remain unaccounted for. It's not clear when or if all of the displaced families will be able to return home. Newcomb has lost everything, but he is just grateful to be alive.
You can take a reset how you want. You can make a better life, rebuild, make it better, and we'll get there. Yeah.
Janella Hamilton, CBC News, Maple Ridge.
A man in his 30s has life-threatening injuries after a shooting on the downtown east side late yesterday. It's believed to have happened inside a building near East Hastings and Princess Avenue around 5:15. Officers say the victim was found outside the building before he was taken to the hospital. One person has been arrested. Investigators are working to find out if there might be additional suspects. Not far from there, crews were busy trying to douse a fire this morning. Firefighters were called around 8 a.m. to this building just off Main and Hastings. The flames sparked up on the outside of the structure and then quickly moved into the wood facing of the building. No one was injured, but there was some damage. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. Well, members of the South Asian community handed out food and drinks to the downtown East Side community this afternoon. This event, now in its second year, is designed to honor the legacy of Punjabi language rapper Sidhu Moosewala. As our Yasmin Gandham explains, today would have been his 29th birthday.
Dozens of pizza boxes and pop cans handed out to people living in the downtown east side. Sidhu Moosewala's music blaring through the streets as people who don't know the musician learn about his legacy.
They always ask, why are you guys doing this? So we try telling them like who he was, about his talent, about the kind of person he was, and hopefully, you know, if we do this in his memory, everyone will have a positive image of him.
The food drive organized by fans and personal friends of the singer who say this is exactly how he would have celebrated his birthday.
I feel like feeding the homeless and helping the people in need was the best way to remember him and keeping his legacy alive. So he would have loved doing stuff like this himself.
Sidhu Moosewala was shot dead in Punjab last May. He was born there but moved to Brampton, Ontario to find success as a rapper. He was known for his fusion music that combined hip-hop with Punjabi music and was praised for opening doors for other Punjabi artists to progress into the mainstream. The singer tackled several social issues facing the Punjabi community, including a song about the widespread farmers' protest in India of 2020. Event organizers say it's why they are choosing to give back to an underserved community.
This is what we're all about, our community. We love doing stuff like this, and even when we were setting up, everyone came up to us and they were like, "Oh, you guys are awesome for doing this." They knew what we were going to do the minute they saw us pull up, because I guess our community always does stuff like this here.
The lineup stretching around the block of people waiting to get a free meal. They say it's not just about the food, but the community.
The community is like family, right? So everybody helps each other out. We give what we can, right?
Dad's here from Winnipeg, right? And I'm kind of living in a shelter right now. Don't have any real support for him. And this is Yeah, this is how we feed ourselves. So.
You know, people are reaching out, and that's a good thing. I mean, you know, like, just, I don't know, it's a good feeling, you know.
Community members behind this event say they hope it becomes an annual tradition to remember who they call a legend, Sidhu Moosevala, and hope his legacy never dies. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
In the past month alone, there has been a rash of Pride-related hate crimes around BC that are still under investigation by police. In Nanaimo, the theme of this year's parade was Pride is Protest in response to rising hate against the community. The CBC's Claire Palmer spent the day there.
And that's what people are doing today, is really showing that it's okay, because that's what Pride means, is to show people it's okay.
People here today say Pride is needed now more than ever.
Queer people, like queer and trans people, need to see themselves, like needs representation so they can see themselves in other people, know that it's okay, they can live how they want to, like whatever makes them happy.
The mood is celebratory, but some Pride societies are still feeling an undercurrent of hate. In Nanaimo, organizers had to work to come up with security plans to keep people safe.
It's not safe. It's not safe for us to exist. And so this Pride, we really wanted people to think more carefully about raising the rainbow flag and see it as more of a call to action than just a celebration, because we need to be creating safer spaces for LGBTQ2IA+ community members everywhere.
According to Stats Canada, there was a 64% increase in hate crimes in 2021 related to the community compared to the year before. It's something politicians are acutely aware of.
So my responsibility as a community rep is to make sure everybody is safe and free to love who they love, to be able to express themselves how they want. And that's what this day is all about. We're shoulder to shoulder, standing up together.
Organizers are heartened to see the passion and positive responses to the festivities.
The volunteers hardly have any work because everyone's just contributing and coming together and supporting each other and working together. It's really beautiful to see.
Pride Month will continue for the rest of June. Celebrations will be happening across Canada through the summer, with Vancouver hosting Pride events in August. Claire Palmer, CBC News, Nanaimo.
After a 3-year hiatus, Italian Day returned to Commercial Drive. This year's theme is Renaissance, and for the organizers, it's all about the community.
It's definitely a vibrant atmosphere. What has allowed us to come back is the community. It's thanks to the community that we're here and everybody's having a good time and enjoying themselves and enjoying our culture and everything else that the drive offers.
Chetwynd and Tumbler are very, very connected. Hopefully it does give people a little bit of a distraction, because you got to know all our hearts go out to them.
Well, Chetwynd in northern BC is not just welcoming wildfire evacuees, but also an influx of visitors for a world-class competition. That story is next. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Chetwynd is not only taking in wildfire evacuees in northeastern BC, but also an influx of visitors for a world-class competition. Carvers and fans have come from far and wide for the Chetwynd International Chainsaw Carving Competition. Take a look.
These are the best swings I've ever carved in my life, and Chetwynd gets them, so that's cool.
We do this every year in the town of Chetwynd here, where we invite 12 of what we consider to be the world's best carvers. We have 4 international, 4 U.S., and 4 Canadian. This is our 17th annual competition. It's a very small town. We're only 3,000 people max type of thing, and we put on one of the world's best shows. Tumbler Ridge, which is evacuated right now, is our sister community. Chetwynd and Tumbler are very, very connected. So to have so many Tumbler people out displaced and down here, hopefully it does give people a little bit of a distraction, because you got to know all our hearts go out to them.
The wings will attach here, arms will attach.
What is it like being here in Chetwynd for this competition?
It's one of the highlights of my life, really. This was a dream of mine to make it here, and I made it last year, and it's been good.
How did you do last year?
I did all right. I got first place in People's Choice. It was a good year. I just try to do something that's on the edge and something that's exciting, something, there's such a history in Chetwynd. You want to do something that nobody's done before. It's stressful. Yeah, if you watch me carving, I may look calm and collected, but in my mind, I am running a marathon of craziness. As far as I'm concerned, this is the most prestigious competition in the entire world.
Here's a time lapse of downtown Vancouver today, and coming up, we'll introduce you to an 8-year-old who convinced a team of kids to run a race with him. We'll tell you why. That's next. Welcome back. A team of kids from Vancouver's Queen Victoria Annex Elementary School ran to raise funds for the BC Children's Hospital this weekend. Their leader is an 8-year-old, and here he is explaining why he wants to give back to the hospital.
1, 2, 3, I have something called nephrotic syndrome. When I was about 5 years old, I started getting very, very puffy. And so after a few days of increasing, we went to the doctor and see what happened. About 1 year later, we thought of the idea of joining communities together to make a team to race and create money for the Children's Hospital. Then when my mom and dad looked it up, I found out that it was actually a thing, and we signed up for something called Race for the Kids, and that's how it started. I raised $1,400 with all of my friends, and this time we're trying to do $2,000 or over.
It's the first time in a couple of years that's not the pandemic, so people don't have to do it by themselves, so we're getting together with a bunch of other people, kids from the school, and racing together with a group around Riley Park. And being with a bunch of other people that understand what it is, how important the Children's Hospital is. We went through a really trying moment with Jasper right during the pandemic. Eventually, you got to go to the hospital, and we went, and they took care of us. They couldn't have been friendlier. They couldn't have been more helpful, and especially going through that during COVID, where you're looking at your child in moments like that, and you don't know what's going on. But this is a small gesture, and we're just humbled and grateful to do it.
Good for them. Well, that is your late news for this Sunday. For news anytime, you can always check out our website. We are at cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition. That's on CBC Radio 1 starting tomorrow morning at 5:30. Thank you so much for watching this weekend. Good night.